the mellow sounds of session guitarist picked acoustic. So, some quick specs. 3 boutique setups, 3 distinct sounds, and it's available in 2 instruments. Right now we're playing the programmed one. But there's also a melody instrument, which you can create your own melodies. So here we are inside of Picked Acoustic, and I'm running this now in Contact 7 instead of the Contact 8, so it may look a little different if you have Contact 8. We're in Picked Acoustic, and then there is the Picked Acoustic melody instrument, which we'll look at in a minute. Immediately what you'll notice is that everything is pretty much the same as the other session guitarist instruments on the surface here. We have the label here. We have a nice chord designator. So it tells you what chords you're playing, which is very helpful. We have the vibrato controls, which I believe are, yes, they are controllable via the mod wheel. Can make it sound very old. And then we have the impact. Okay, that was interesting. But this is nice, so you can adjust the intensity. Just if we let it go, it'll spring. Okay, this is very extreme, but you get it. And then over here, the preset is natural sounding. I like that, but you could go forward. Dynamic picking. You could also select out of this list. Okay, and then link to song. So the pattern is now linked to whatever song preset. In this case is Countryside. And we could go back to Plastic Pop. And these are just changing how it sounds. So, if you wanted to do guitar doubling, you can do it right here. And that's pretty cool. Fat ribbon. We'll check that, and then we'll go down to the section down here. Okay, so you get the idea. Now, I'm going to put it back to natural because I like the sound of natural. Now, that setting that allows it to... Oh. Wait a minute, how did it slide? Okay, so it's got a velocity slide on it, so if you really punch it... What else have we got? Anyway, you could keep going. That's different from some of the others. So before we check out these other articulations, let's turn on the auto chords and then we'll see. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Now let's see what order we can put them in. Let's try a sus4. That doesn't quite fit, so okay, you get the idea. So that's keeping us in the key of C major. If we were to take it to D major, we're going to take it to G flat. So you can have a lot of fun with that. As you can see, we have several different keys from which to choose: C, D, D and D flat, E, F, G, G, A, B. Yeah, so I'll put it back to C just for the sake of illustration. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn off the auto chords, and then let's try some of these other articulations, shall we? So down here on the lower part of the keyboard is what changes the pattern. So we've been playing that one, so let's do the next one. Let's go to D1. D sharp. E. And F. Not the key F, but the key switch F. Okay. Now, there are other songs. We could either click the next one or we could go to search. And we have, okay, there's uphill, there's busker. So we'll check out these two and then we'll go to the next section. So uphill. Woo-hoo-hoo. I love this pattern. Oh, so we gotta try this. So, okay, so that's one. That's the first preset, which already it's got me inspired. Let's see the next one. Awkward chord change. G over B. So I'm going to hold the same chord so you can see how the different patterns handle it. You know how I love the muted sound. Okay, so I had to try this. Beautiful. All right, now the next one we were going to look at was, what was it? Busker. So this is like somebody that's out, playing in the, on the street. I'm going to turn this off. Just there we go. Playing in the streets with a bucket or a hat for donations. So this one is all in 11ths. It's interesting. Does it do that when we change the pattern? That's regular C note. Ooh, G7 over C. G over C. So this will all be in 7ths. not just sevenths, but minor sevenths. Okay, now if I turn this on, what do we got? And then I wanted to go, duh. But not in that way. But not like that anyway. So that would be one that I would probably construct with the melody version of this instrument. So let's see, what was the last one is muted. I'm going to go back to my auto chords. Ooh. Oh, I'm actually going to record that one just because I need that in my life. So I just make sure I'm not recording over anything else. Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh, let me call this picked. Picked guitar. I'll also go ahead and duplicate this so that we can continue with our exploration right after we do that. So I'm going to, and this one will be called picked acoustic, so I can tell the difference between them. I have a problem with my C key. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and close this one out like that. Ah, did we close the whole thing? We did. Why did we close the whole thing? Okay, let's bring it back. That was not nice. That was very not nice. Okay, Reaper quit unexpectedly. Why would you do that, Reaper? It's not malicious, I can assure you. Okay. So, what has happened is that we actually lost access to those instruments. So, let's go back. I'm going to load up Contact 7 again. This is a lesson in always saving it because I completely lost the... Okay, so picked acoustic. I remember which one we're using, so there we go. Okay, and we were in busker. Okay, and we're in the muted one. Okay, and then I had my chords loaded and I was in G flat. Okay, so now we are going to hit save. Yes, indeed. Okay, and then... so I will duplicate that and I will actually use the duplicate in this one. We'll name them different things. This is what crashed me before, so let's hope it doesn't crash. This is not normal, by the way. It doesn't normally just crash. Oh, wait, we're going to hit save next. Save. Do. And then we'll call this picked acoustic. And this one picked guitar. Okay, so we will record with the picked guitar, and the picked acoustic will be our fun one. So what am I using right now? Okay, that's picked acoustic. Record with picked guitar. Picked acoustic, go bye-bye. Okay. So, okay. Now that that's ready, we'll hit save again. Okay. And now I think we're ready to to do this. Okay. So we'll save that because that could go on forever. And then let's see what other patterns. Okay, that might sound lame, but it's an idea. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Okay, bit of risk here. Okay. All right. That's what we'll stop recording there, and we will go back to our demo. So we'll go ahead and close this one like so. And then we will bring back. There we go. Okay. Very nice. Now, we'll save those changes. Okay. Now we will look at the other sections of the instrument. So down here below, we have guitar settings, effects, and playback. We're working under patterns. So we'll just keep that going because that'll be good for exploring the settings. Okay, so right now we're using dynamic microphones in the guitar settings. Let's see what condensers sound like. Now let's go to the ribbon. Once again with the doubling. Okay, so I actually like the sound of the dynamics. Okay, and let's undouble it. So when you double, obviously it's like two recordings. So you track one and then track the other one, so it's wider because they're panned right and left to a certain degree. And then let's see, so it's like, okay, so now, and down here we have our fret noise and our tuning. So tuning is precise. We can make it sloppy. Let me get more precise. Okay, so I'm going to keep it precise just for the time being, but you can see what you can do. Now the fret noise is at a nice comfortable volume. We could crank it up. So I'm going to put it back to the middle. I like it in the middle. Come on, 0. Okay. So that's those settings there. And right now our stereo width, even with the dynamic mics and without doubling, is pretty wide. So we could make it mono. Widen it. Super wide. Okay, so original. Now it's just a little bit wider than original. It looked like they had it, so that's fun. And then all of these settings are in fact informed by what you choose over here. For example, if we go back to the uphill setting, now we're using ribbon mics. A little more mellow. Just double. Now, that being said, you can go in and change it to be whatever you want after you've done the song settings, and sound presets are linked to it. If we didn't link them, then perhaps we could go back to uphill and we would find that we're still on the dynamic microphone. We even go back to countryside. I see stereo width change, so let me see if it's anything else changes. Yeah, no, it's the same. Okay, so link to song changes everything with that. And you can go into these settings to change them yourself. Now let's take a look at the effects tab. I think we're still in Busker. Yes, we are. Okay, so let's add an EQ. Or does it have it already? It does. Okay. These are the effects there. Right there. So it's got a reverb, it's got a plate reverb and a reverb pedal, so, and a replica delay, so. I'm I'm just turning them off to see what it sounds like without them. So these settings change the sound, and then beyond your virtual capture setup here, you got your pedal board, so we'll turn these back on. We'll turn on the plate reverb. And then our IR reverb. So low pass filter. Now, this is important, the tone, because it's letting how much of the low frequencies get into the reverb. Just a little reverb nerdery. Now, generally, you want to have less of the low frequencies in there. So, this was set pretty high to catch just the tails, but you could put like, I don't know. That's kind of boxy, so let's put it up in the kilohertz. We can put more. Now, to hear what happens when you put more of the low frequencies in. So very muddy, very unpleasant, so let's trim it out. Much cleaner that sounds. Now the pre-delay is how much, I think, before you actually hear the reverb kick in. So what I'm seeing here is these presets, they did it all very subtly, and you can use these as kind of a guide to figure out your own tones. And then the plate reverb, and so we got low shelf. Let me see if I turn off the IR reverb. And this one is obviously in very subtly, so you can barely hear it. Same idea. Let the low frequencies in. Kind of muddy. Okay, but they had it very subtly and very musically. So take a look at the presets and see what you can, see what they're doing, and see how you can tweak the sounds for musical effect. And maybe you already know how to do this and you don't need any of this, but I find it helpful for me personally. And then of course, if you wanted to add an effect, you go here to search, and we could add any one of these other it's like we could add a rotator. And how much of the effect we're hearing. You get the idea. So that's the effects page. I'm going to sort of reset this back to where we got. Okay. Now we go to the playback section. Right now it's on 16th note swing, and the amount of swing is set to this. It's even more swing. Now, I've heard from Jacob Collier that 56% swing is about right. This only goes to 57 and 55. Let's get it. Now, if we wanted to make it 8th note swings, I prefer it at 16th. Oh, these are all 11ths. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to put it back to C. Let's see. Let's hear it on 8th notes. Sounds about the same. Okay, now so we could quantize it. So okay, cool. So original and quantized, and we were partway in between, like 75% or so. I like to have a little humanization in my performances, so we'll put it there. Now, tempo, we're actually going to go backwards this case. So tempo is 1-to-1. We can make it go half time. But like, who plays like that? Especially muted. Double speed. Okay, obviously quite unrealistic, but it could be fun in some settings. Okay, now timing is offset by I can't hear this offset. Maybe you can. That one I can't hear personally, but I know it does something. And then there's, okay, we're synced to host right now. We could say start on key. So it means it. Okay, so sync to host would be whatever our pattern, our BPM is here, more than likely. That's when I need to. It's usually obvious, but for some reason it's not obvious to me this time what that's doing. And then our latch mode, just like how quickly it did that, so we could go 1 to 1. So as you watch my hand here, what we were on was a quarter note. Could put it to 8th note. For example, put a half note. So that could be useful for when you're doing one of these patterns and you want to stop it at a certain point. Okay, so I'm going to put it on 8th note and we'll check it out. Okay, so that for that one is kind of cool that it stops. You can get it to stop in an 8th note. So that is your 4 sections of pattern, guitar, effects, and playback. Now, there's one other instrument nested inside of this, and that is the melody instrument. So, as before, this is the picked acoustic melody instrument, and let's get closer. Combine melodies and patterns to create authentic performances. So right here on this side we have the melodies, okay? And okay, we got open, we got muted, we got flageolet, I believe is how you pronounce that, and tremolo. And you can switch it from finger to plectrum picked, and from poly to mono. We'll explain that in just a moment. So that's the key switch section. And then on this side we have the melody section. Now, to perform notes as a pattern, hold down a key switch in the pattern section. So here, let me go back over here. So we got C1. So all the way down here, you can barely see, but we'll C1 and D1 through D sharp 1. So let me go up here. So this is C2, but you get the idea first. So we got C1, C sharp 1, D1, D sharp 1, and those are your melody settings. And then if you want to go and do a pattern, you got E and F, F sharp, E, F, F sharp, and G. Okay, so, and of course they're 1, so they'll be down here. Okay, so, and then if you prefer playing patterns as default, you can switch the default mode on the playback page from melody to pattern. Okay, let's start. Okay, so let's look at it. We have, okay, now what they were talking about was over here where you could say by default it's on melody. You could change it to be pattern by default, and then it will. by default, we're going to put it on melody where it was, and we'll go over here. So C1 is our open. Now we change it to, the rest of the settings actually are the same really quick here. So we got our tempo, our timing, our pattern, and this default mode is different. And we have the humanize and swing. We've been through the effects section and the guitar settings section. So right now we're in condenser. Okay, so those settings remain the same. So we're on finger. We can switch it to plectrum. And from plectrum, we can switch, okay, back to finger. And then we can do mono, which means no playing of chords. Just melodies. And then poly allows you to play chords. Okay, now let's hear our muted setting. Okay, and then we got our flageolet. Okay, and then at D sharp one we got our tremolo. Now, instead of at the top that's different, instead of having just an intensity one, it just has vibrato. Which you can't really hear very well on this here. And then instead of intensity, it has pitch. Okay. So now if we want to go and play a pattern, we go like this. So you can switch if you have a wave. Okay, so there's that. I'll mute me so you can hear that a little. Okay, so various effects that we have there. Now, the same pattern thing works the same way, so we can go back over here and either double click or hit the check mark. So you get the idea. Those chords are a little frantic and random, but And then you go back here and okay, so that's basically what's different about the melody section, and you can use that to play however you choose. And it's kind of fun, I think. So. So that there is a session guitarist picked acoustic. All right, so you get the idea. I'm starting to get a little random and not as musical, but this is the picked acoustic from Session Guitarist. Native Instruments, Session Guitarist, picked acoustic. All right, and that is a look at how it works and the wonderful ideas you can come up with just from, at least for me, it sparks imagination and good ideas. So I enjoy it. I do also enjoy real actual guitar. This is not a replacement. It's kind of a sketching tool, and I like to be inspired by sounds. So if you are like me and like to be inspired by sounds and are curious as to the different ways you can incorporate guitar into your music, I highly recommend. All right, so let's see, what videos can we check out? There are some auto-recommended videos right now in the end screen, so check those out, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay curious.